Yo, what's up, ladies? This is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to stop being so damn sensitive. This is big. This is big, all right? And if you guys get offended by it, then keep watching, all right? Just to let you guys know, I am going to be doing a live interview with Layan in at 12:30. So you guys are going to be seeing me interview people. So stream in at 12:30 and you guys are going to see an interview, okay? So anyways, let's get started. Essentially, being a sensitive person is because you have suppressed a lot of issues. You have learned that in order to feel better, you don't face your issues, you go around your issues. All right. You try to make your life so that you don't get offended. So why is that? Well, Michael Singer, in his book The Untethered Soul, there's a chapter that he talks about when you have a thorn in your body, right? They say you have a little thorn there, right? Most people, rather than removing it, they just adjust their life in order for them not to get hurt. All right. So for example, rather than taking a thorn out, you make sure you have a protective layer. You make sure that there's that there's an open space. And so generally speaking, your whole life is revolved around that pain, trying to avoid feeling that pain. All right. And when someone strikes at it, you immediately get offended. So what's really going on here is that you're not used to pain. You haven't become accustomed to pain. Rather than facing your pain, you run away from it. There's something that's called pain tolerance, wherein the more pain you experience at a conscious level, the less it hurts. You know how when you were a little kid, a paper cut hurt, and fuck that, it still hurts, but still though, like, you know how a paper cut used to hurt a lot, or like a little cut used to hurt like crazy, right? Now I'm waiting for my food to come, but that's what tends to happen, where people make their environment to the situation so specific so that they don't get hurt. So rather than facing the problem, they adjust their life around it. And if people in their life don't adjust and acquiesce to their demands, they get offended. So how do you stop getting offended? How do you stop being so sensitive? The first thing is that you got to first observe your own pain. Realize that a lot of the times being offended is not based on actual fact, but based on your emotional imprints. So you have to get used to experiencing the pain and going into the pain, then running away from the pain. You see, for example, if I've dated women where if I say something wrong, they're like, oh, how dare you offend me like that? You know what I'm saying? And so the reason because they feel that way is because there's pain inside of them that they're suppressing. And anytime somebody does something that brings it out, they get offended by them. But in reality, they are offending themselves. It's something that's self-generated and self-created by their own insecurities and their own pain. So the more you run away from it through trying to get the right situation, through trying to correct people, through trying to not hear certain things, the more you run away from it, the stronger it gets. It's like a kettle. A kettle, it'll keep steaming and steaming until it blows up. And it doesn't blow up, but you know what I'm saying. So how is it done? You first have to be present in the moment. Observe your breath so that as soon as the offense comes, as soon as you feel offended, you feel the contractions. Because in reality, what's really going on is an emotional, is a physical contraction of your muscles. You see what I'm saying? Yes, there is a mental element, but what's really the discomforting part is the physical discomfort of pain. Not physical pain, but more of an emotional pain that's felt through contraction, the feeling of uncomfortableness. All right. So how is it done? You first have to break down the experience of pain. You have to separate the mental labels of I got offended and the emotional label of this feeling that I have is offended. I'm sorry, I'm just waiting for my bells for my food to come. I know I said it, but so how's it done? I always talk about this. There's two different ways. A, you literally put yourself in a position to get offended. It's like go to that YouTube channel, go listen to that person that offends you and listen so that you could see your own reactions. And so what I would tell you to do is literally get a pen and paper and begin writing down your physical experience of being offended. Not your mental experience, your mental dialogue, but the physical sensation of the offended part. So for example, I say women should make sandwiches. Oh my God. Oh my God. Write it down. Oh, I feel contraction in my chest. Oh, okay. My neck kind of gets stiff when I hear that. Like you literally just write down the physical sensation, right? And so what tends to happen is that you begin to notice that this person who you feel of, this person who's offended you, in reality is not there. It's just a physical contraction added with a label that's created by your mind. So suddenly, rather than feeling offended, you feel a physical sensation. Like it doesn't become offense anymore. It just becomes a physical sensation of contraction of your muscles. See what I'm saying? And a lot of emotions are just contraction in different places. So when you just literally begin to write down your experience of being offended, suddenly your muscles will begin to relax. And then what's funny is that the muscles relax. Now it's not charging your mental, it's not charging your mind, because the more you feel that pain, the more your mind begins contracting, creating thoughts. So you're not feeding the mind, you're not feeding the one who's offended. So you feel the contraction, the mind is not being fed with attention, and you're gonna see your thoughts, but they will not become animated. They will not have that extra hump to it because it doesn't have that pain. The pain is not driving those thoughts. So now suddenly you see those thoughts and you just see them as thoughts. Oh, fuck him. How dare he say it to make a sandwich? You see what I'm saying? They just become little thoughts, little objects of your awareness. All right. So that's one way to stop being offended. The second way is, as soon as you feel offended, ask yourself, am I trying to feel better right now? Like literally get yourself offended, put yourself in a position to get offended, right? Again, watch a YouTube video, talk to a certain guy, or listen to me, get offended, and just ask yourself at the moment of being offended, am I trying to feel better right now? And notice. Because you want to bring it out. You want to bring out the offense. You want to make it conscious. Most of the time it's unconscious because the experience of being offended doesn't feel good. So you make it unconscious and you suppress it through trying to find a way through trying to find a solution. Through being offended, through being the victim. You take that role because it kind of makes you feel good. So you ask yourself, am I trying to feel better right now? And you notice, okay, I am trying to feel better. Then you ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to feel better for just 10 seconds? What would happen if I allowed myself to feel offended for just 10 seconds? And you notice it. That's when you begin to notice that in reality, the words and what happened doesn't really have a lot of weight. You're just making it more complicated than it is. Even though it may be justified, it's counterproductive. So that's one way to stop feeling offended. And essentially, it's pretty much making being offended in a spiritual practice. Stay present when you feel offended. Because in reality, the more you try and not feel offended, the more you try and not be sensitive, the more sensitive you're going to be. Sensitivity is all about just having repressed emotions that doesn't feel good, and that they're waiting for someone to activate it. They're waiting for someone to give them life. And as soon as you give them life through giving them attention and removing your attention from your physical sensations and taking your attention to your mind, suddenly you animate them. Because you got to understand, attention animates whatever you put it to. For example, you feel your hand right now, right? Feel your hand. Feel your hand. Come on, man. Feel your hand. I know you're not doing it. Feel your hand. You feel your hand more, right? Why do you feel your hand more? Because you're giving it attention. Now feel your feet. Take your attention to your feet right now. You feel your feet more, right? Because you feel offended. Now, if you notice, the feeling of the hand, the intensification of the feeling is the same thing that happens with your thoughts, but rather than intensifying the thoughts begin to get life. You animate them. And so they run more, And how do you animate them? Through becoming the thoughts. Rather than you being the one who's observing the thoughts, you become the thinker. But in reality, you don't think. Thinking happens to you. It's kind of like your digestive system. Your digestion just happens. Thinking just happens. You're not your digestive system. You're not your thinking. So you just got to remove this I through bringing your awareness into the body and then observing your thoughts happen without you doing anything about it. That's when you begin to notice, holy shit, this is just my brain and I'm here experiencing these thoughts. Now, let me ask you this. Who's the one that feels offended? Who's the one, for example, like when you feel offended, when you feel sensitive, ask yourself, who's feeling offended? Literally, try to find those self On whose try to find this person who on whose behalf you're feeling offended. Try it right now, because everywhere you look, if you try to go into the body, you're gonna notice physical sensations, right? So it's not there. If you try to go into your thoughts, you begin to see thoughts. So it's not there. But that's why you want to observe the thought, observe the physical sensation, and observe the thoughts, because you're going to notice that there's nobody there. There's nobody there. It's all mind-made. It's all self-generated by your mind. So when you begin to look around and through self-observance, you begin to notice who's feeling offended. Nobody is. Nobody. And that's when you just drop it. Now, you may get offended from time to time, but this becomes your spiritual practice. You just ask yourself, am I trying to feel better right now? I am. Okay. Well, what happens if I stop trying to feel better for just 10 seconds? You suddenly notice it drops. That's how it is, guys. It's very simple. I know that you guys are like, I wanted something more complicated, but no, man. Like, these are the easiest ways to stop being offended, because if you're always sensitive, then you're always in defense mode, always making sure that people don't say certain things to offend you, that he doesn't say that she doesn't say that, and that's not a good way to live. That's not a good way to live. You're trapped in your own mind-made prison. Anyways, if you guys want one-on-one coaching, just go to mindfulattraction.org/coach in a pocket. All right, let's look at this. I'm reading some of the comments, some of the questions here. Let me see. Our STEM. And look, and another thing that really pisses me off, how society treats women, how they cater women. They treat you guys like you better be careful about saying this in front of her, or you better not offend her. See, a lot of women, they're told that it's a man's responsibility to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for you to lash out. It's okay for you to be sensitive. And that's an issue. Yes, you have your thing. There's certain times of the month when you get offended, but you have to treat that as a spiritual practice. You have to bring awareness into the offense, awareness into your sensitivity. Don't be the one who's feeling offended. Be the one who's observing the offense. Because let me tell you this, when you get offended and you're observing yourself being offended, there's space. There's the thoughts and the emotions of being sensitive, and then there's awareness. And now that awareness doesn't experience any emotions. It's just there. It's ever-present, self-luminous. You see, and so it's something fascinating that you are experiencing pain, but underneath the surface, you're at peace because there's space. And before, there wasn't space because you were the thoughts and emotions, but now there's space. And those emotions and thoughts are just objects of your awareness. Yeah, you like I'm reading LC says, you let the feeling ride and let it pass and observe your thoughts. Exactly. You just let it pass through you. But it's easier said than done. And that's why asking yourself, am I trying to feel better? And then ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to feel better? It's so simple. Such a simple tactic, my goodness. I can't believe I came up with that shit. I bet somebody else came up with it. Who knows? Anyways, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. I hope you guys have a good day. And you guys are going to hear from me at 12:30. And I mean, how many hours? In 9, 10, 11, 12. In 3 hours from now. Be ready, because I'm going to be doing an interview. All right. Anyways, take care and bye-bye. Hey, look, yo, if you haven't gone into my podcast, go check out my podcast. It's on the link below. No, you get your Spreaker. Go check it out. Okay. I may be doing a live podcast tomorrow. So check it out. You better check it out. You better check it out, man. Take care. Bye-bye.